We are quiet this morning. Give it up for the stage design team as well for setting it all up nicely. They did a much better job in this service than they did in the 9:15. They were still doing it in the 9:15 at this particular moment, weren't they, Jacob? So good. A couple of things just to share on the back of church news. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, we've got baptisms tonight in our 6 p.m. service and next Sunday as well, which is fantastic. Quite a number of people getting baptized, which we love to celebrate with them. So let me encourage you, maybe you don't normally come to a 6 o'clock service. Why not come back tonight, celebrate with those that are getting baptized, because I think it's something that we do as a family together just to give thanks to God for people being baptized. And if you've not been baptized yet and you've made that decision to follow Jesus, your next step is to be baptized. Come and see us, put your name down. If you can't do it tonight, then maybe you can do it next Sunday. That'd be great and something we can celebrate together. Also, this week we've got our Connect groups, our small groups meeting across the life of church. Again, I know many of you are already in a Connect group, but if you want to know more information about that, if you want to join a Connect group, come and see us at the info desk straight after this service and we'll give you the details and where the best one is for you to go to. So that's great. Great stuff. Well, kids, you ready to go through into Goo? Let's welcome Dexter. All the children want to follow the leaders through into the Goo room. The younger ones follow Dexter through into the foyer for Goo Talks. Great. My privilege to welcome our speaker this morning. Why don't we stand to our feet? Let's welcome Nathan as he comes to bring God's word this morning. Right, mate.
Thanks, everyone. Why don't you say hello to 2 or 3 people around you and grab your seats. Everyone doing good? Wasn't Pulse Conference last weekend amazing? Why don't we thank everyone who served, team, all of that. Come on, let's show our appreciation for everyone. It's good. And Paul and Jeannie send their love. They're currently in Spain, not on holiday. They keep telling me that. Not on holiday. They're actually one of the churches through our Rise and Build that we're supporting, they're actually visiting. And Paul's speaking at today in Torrevieja. And Rosie keeps giving me the desk there when I say that one. She speaks Spanish. She's been over in Spain before. And she's trying to smile at me now, but I can see it in her eyes, the disappointment. And but they're over there helping that church wanting to have their own building. And so our Rise and Build will go towards that, which is incredible that we get to do that. They're also scouting out the land for a location. Who knows where it could be? And so we got a leader's WhatsApp, and we've had loads of pictures and videos of food and sea and all of that. Not making us jealous at all. Chesterfield's beautiful. But no, they send their love, and they'll be back here next weekend. We're in for a great day, and tonight I want to encourage you, if never been to a 6 p.m. service, well, tonight's a great night to come. 6 p.m. service, celebrate with the people that are getting baptized. Baptism service is always one of my favorites. And so an incredible celebration of people, deciding old life, becoming new. And just going to be an incredible celebration tonight. So come along if you're able tonight. And I just want to give you a welcome. If you're here, Icon Church for the first time, so great that we get to be together in this place. And it's just great that we get to gather and do this. And so I'm just going to speak for the next 30 minutes or so. If you respond, it goes quicker. If not, it could be 3 hours. And some people in the back are already walking out, like 3 hours, no way. Not happening. But this morning I want to speak from the subject, pioneer. And I thought last weekend was incredible. Derek Smith was amazing, and he spoke from Hebrews 11. And so this week, what tends to happen with me is if someone speaks from a certain passage or whatever, I can go away, and for the next week I can kind of be like reading it and different things. And I got to Hebrews 12, and I got to these first 3 verses, which I'm going to read to you, but I'm going to read from the Message version to you because I want to speak from these this morning. It says this. Do you see what this means? So this is in follow-on to Hebrews 11. So it's about the heroes of the faith. And the first thing is, do you see what this means? All these pioneers who blazed the way, all these veterans cheering us on, it means we'd better get on with it. Strip down, start running, and never quit. No extra spiritual fat, no parasitic sins. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race we're in. Study how he did it, because he never lost sight of where he was headed. That exhilarating finish in and with God. He could put up with anything along the way, cross, shame, whatever, and now he's there in the place of honor, right alongside God. When you find yourselves flagging in your faith, go over that story again, item by item, that long litany of hostility he plowed through that will shoot adrenaline into your souls. This morning, my aim, and as I was reading that, and I read it in the Message version, my aim is that you'll walk out of here with a shot of adrenaline in your soul. A shot of adrenaline in your soul that goes, okay, I can do this. I can get on with this, as the writer of Hebrews is calling us to. I can move forward. I can move into all that God's calling me to do. Little update on me. Obviously, I'm out of the cast. I'm back in the moon boot. Can't do the moon walk, but I'm in the moon boot. And this week I had the cast off, and in the moon boot I'm in like high-heeled style. So ladies, I feel your pain. Those high heels and all of that. But this week and last week I've had like strange urges to do things. Like things that maybe wouldn't come into mind. Like just going for a walk. I just want to go for a walk. Don't care where, I just want to go for a walk. I don't want to be sofa bound. I just want to go for a walk. And then, like, I fancied putting myself through some pain and going for a run. Like, I just wanted to go for a run. Like, the things that I wouldn't say I miss, I just wanted to be able to do it. That kind of stuff. But it got me thinking about this. We went on holiday to Spain quite a few years ago now. And at that point, I was playing for Matlock Town, and so we went during pre-season. And so the manager grabs me and says, right, you're going on holiday. Here's a workout regime while you're on holiday. I'm like, I just want to relax. Like workout regime. But this is what I had to do. And so they're in Spain, and some of them were runs and different things. And so one morning I get up to go run, and our villa was backed onto a golf course, and then down beyond the golf course was the sea. And so when I run, I kind of like zone out. So I don't realize that I'm running because I don't want to feel the pain. And I get bored. So I zone out and I just think about a load of stuff. Sometimes that's where God speaks to me. Other times if I'm unfit, he definitely doesn't speak to me. All I can hear is like this. And I'm not having an asthma attack in those moments. And so I'm running and I'm zoned out. Completely zoned out. I'm just turning wherever. I'm running around. I'm looking around. I'm zoned out and everything. Anyway, the run, I wanted to run for about half an hour, maybe just a little bit longer. 15, 20 minutes into the run, I look around and I go, where am I? I haven't got a clue. I have no idea where I am. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to try and retrace my steps. But I'd zoned out. And so I'm trying to make my way back. I'm turning here, there, and everywhere. I end up on the beach. I'm running down the beach, and then there's this grass bank, and I think, oh, someone's walked up there, because you can see the ground's been walked on. So I run up there. I end up on the first tee of the golf course near our villa. Everyone's shouting, 4, like this. And eventually I made it way back to our villa by just running around the golf course. And I was praying in that moment that I'm hoping this is the right golf course. Like this. But then we set off in the car afterwards and we drive to like the end of our road. And how many of you know when you've kind of gone a certain way down a road and then you go the opposite way, you see things differently? Well, we drive back and I go, oh, that's where I was. I was literally meters away from our villa, and I ended up running all the way back round and different things because I was lost. In life, we can feel like we're lost. We can feel like we're lost. We can feel like we don't know the way. We don't know which way to go. In the car now, luckily, most phones, sat-nav, I use a sat-nav called Waze, which I have a statement about Waze. It will take you the weirdest route, but will always get you there 5 minutes quicker. It will. But in life, we can feel like we're lost. We can go walk in the woods, and we're not sure. But I love this thought that actually when you're walking in the woods or you're walking somewhere, you see trampled ground where someone's made a way. Where someone's made a way. And as I was running down the beach that day, someone had made a way up the banking and had trampled the ground so much so that I thought, okay, that's the way, because people go that way. They go that way. But many times in life, we can feel like we're not sure which way to go. As Christians, as followers of Jesus, there are many times when we're trying to go the way and the way that God's calling us to, but many times we can find ourselves lost or not sure. And the way is not going to be a walk in the park, but actually there are going to be ups and downs. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be hills and rocks. There's going to be things we're going to have to climb over. But here's the promise, because the writer to Hebrews is writing to a people who are being persecuted. The writer to Hebrews is writing to people whose friends are being killed for their faith. And he's simply saying, don't give up. Don't give up. Actually, if you don't give up, we'll finish this race well. We'll finish this race well. And I love this because actually it shows us an incredible picture of Jesus. Incredible picture of what Jesus did for us, in that he made a way so that we could come to God. Like, I can't do it. I can't get myself into the presence of God. I can't do it. It was only Jesus who did that for me. That he died on the cross. He rose again so that we could enter the presence of God. He made a way. There was no way for us to get into the presence of God. And Jesus pioneered that way for us. We see it actually, Jesus proclaims this about himself. This is how confident he is in himself. Only Jesus can do this, you can't. He says this about himself. He says, Jesus in John 14 and verse 6 says, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That actually we have this promise. We're looking for a way, and the way is through Jesus. Way into God's presence is through Jesus. And many times, and in my life I've done this, we can sometimes come and attempt to get into God's presence in the wrong way. We can come and we can go, okay, I've done good works this week. Maybe I'll enter God's presence. No, it's through Jesus. It's through Jesus and what he's done. It's not through my own works, but it's through the gift of grace. It's through Jesus that we enter into the presence. And the only way we'll experience the presence of God is through Jesus Christ. We might feel like there's no way. There's no way. But that moment is the time to believe. That's the moment where we have to have faith. And so the writer of Hebrews at the start of this is following on from Hebrews chapter 11 and talked about these incredible people of faith. And he goes, so look at them. So look at these pioneers. Look at these veterans. Look at these fathers and mothers of faith. Look at these pioneers. Look at these pioneers, because we've got to become pioneers. We've got to become pioneers. He's not saying look at these pioneers and stand in awe. He's saying no. You should look at these pioneers to inspire you to be a pioneer. For you to be a pioneer. But the first thing you need to do to run the race God has set before you is set your eyes on Jesus and see Jesus in this. And so in that first verse, he says, do you see what this means? All these pioneers, all those who blaze the way, all the veterans cheering us on, it means we'd better get on with it. I love how Eugene Peterson puts this, because it's this moment of, like, let's not sit around any longer. We're going to get on with this. We've got to be the same. We've got to become pioneers. The writer of Hebrews actually is even pointing out that some of us get stuck. Some of us get lost along the way. Some of us get stuck in this place. Some of the Hebrews have stopped running their race after starting so well. Like, I can kind of understand it. When you realize the context is, as I said earlier, they're being persecuted. Like, their friends are being killed for their faith. Family members are being killed for their faith. And yet the writer of Hebrews is encouraging them, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going, because you'll finish well. You'll finish well. You'll finish the race. Don't give up. You see, I love this because it's the moment of commitment that leads us to the way. It's a moment of commitment. When I was on that run, I could have been running down that beach and thinking, there's no way I'm going to find home. There's no way I'm going to find my way back. I'm completely lost. That's it. I'll just lay on the beach, cast away, all of that. Wilson with me, all of that. I'm done. That's it. But it was amazing as you're running down that beach, there's a trail. And all of a sudden my hopes get up. Oh, that could be the way. See, the incredible thing is the commitment that we don't give up, that we keep going. That actually we don't give up in our race. See, many of us, we start well, but we can get stuck. We want to go from here to there, and we start so well, but many times we can get stuck, and we can end up going around in circles, and we can end up coming back. But in this moment, I want to encourage you, do not give up. Keep going. Keep having a commitment. I love it. I said it in the first service that there are many people in this church and I look out on whose commitment has paved a way for me and my faith to actually have a faith of I don't give up. My parents, Gavin and Jane, there's many different people. I was looking around in the first service, still looking around in this service of people who've committed to what God has got for us and what God has got for their life. And it's paved a way. It's made a way that in times where I don't think there's a way, I go, no, I've got to keep going. Because look at the example, look at the life, the pioneers of what God has got for us. And I think it's the same for us. He goes on and he says in Hebrews, says, so strip down. Start running, never quit. There are different things that could stop us and be hindrances in our running of our race. You see, let me say this. We're all called to be pioneers. We're all called to that. We're all called to lead the way. But many times we can stop running because of hindrances. We can stop running because of things that just come in the way. Comparison can be a weight in our lives. Comparison of others, depression, anxiety, being fearful about the future. These are things that can stop us, but these are things that God has not called us to. He's called us to run. He's called us to push forward. He's called us to never quit. We need to strip off those things and begin to run. And like most importantly, as I've said, never quit. Keep going. Keep going. And I love this because actually the way we pioneer is the way Jesus pioneered. The way Jesus pioneered was with love. It's the way we pioneer. That actually we pioneer with love. So I don't know, but there are many times I don't know what to do. But here's Jesus' example. If I don't know what to do, love. If I don't know how to get through, love. If I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, well, I can commit to love. I can commit to bring in love. Because love will blaze a way. Love will make a way. Love pioneers. And that's what Jesus did for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us, he made a way through love. That famous verse, John 3:16, that many of us will know, but for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son. It was love that pioneered a way for each and every one of us. And the writer of Hebrews says, so study. You can read it in verse 2. He says, study how he did it because he never lost sight. He never lost sight. Study how he did it. Study how he loved because he never lost sight. You see, part of being a pioneer is how we see. Not just how we see with, our flesh eyes, what we see in front of us, but how we see spiritually. How we see spiritually. Because in order to reach our destination, we can never lose sight. You see, I couldn't run around Spain with my eyes shut. Otherwise, there were no way I was finding my way back. Actually, in that moment where I thought I was lost, I think if I'd have opened my eyes better and not done a man look, and can you go and find this for me? And it's not there. And then, Debbie goes up and within 3 minutes she's found it. And you've done a man look again. If I'd not done a man look in that moment, maybe I would have found where I was. But I just thought, I've got to find my way back. got to do it. But many times we can live life like that because we don't have our eyes open to what God's doing. In order to reach the destination, we can never lose sight. And remember why we're doing it. Remember why. We can start well, but we've got to remember why we're doing it. Why we started that business, why we took that uni course, why, we're going to lead family like this, why we're going to commit to church, why we're going to do this. We've got to remember the why. We can never lose sight of the why, because that's Jesus' example. He never lost sight of the why. Why did he go to the cross? For us. And he never lost sight of that. It says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross. I love that because that's the why. He's not forgetting the why. He's focusing. As he looks past the cross, spoke about this last Sunday night. As he looks past the cross to the promise was me and you. The promise was us. The promise was people in our worlds. The promise was that people would find eternal life, that people would find hope, that people would know him. That was the promise, and we can never forget the why. If you're like me, it's easy to start things. It's easy to start things. And then in the middle, I can get bored. And then if it's coming close to the finish, I'm frantically trying to sort it and do it. Is that just me? This confession time for me, this moment. But actually, we can never quit. Got to remember the why. Got to remember the why. Why? Because it tells us actually in these verses that Jesus was more exhilarated to finish than he was about the start. That he was more exhilarated to finish. Why? Because he knew the why. He looked at the why. And maybe we started well. Maybe we've started well in our journey. Maybe we've started well in running our race for God. Maybe we've started well in all of those things. But this is a moment, maybe we've shrunk back. Maybe we've pulled back. Maybe our faith, we've just pulled back. But maybe this is a moment to just shoot some adrenaline into our souls and go, hey, you started well. Go again. Keep going. Never quit. Keep going no matter what comes against you. Because there's a race. There's a race for you. I love what it says about Jesus. It says in those verses, he could put up with anything along the way. He could put up with anything along the way. You see, the writer of Hebrews even says this in this, that actually we're going to flag in our faith. He's not, he doesn't avoid that fact that there's going to be moments where we flag in our faith. Maybe, we walk in on a Sunday and we physically walk in, but spiritually we're kind of crawling in. We're dragging ourselves in at times. We're doing that. But here's what it says, that actually Jesus, he could put up with anything along the way. He could put up with anything, and it encourages us to go over his story, item by item. In those moments where we feel like our faith is flagging, it's a moment to go, okay, here's his story, and how's that impacted my story? How's that changed my story? How's that? We've got to remind ourselves, this isn't my idea. This is God's idea. This is what God's got for me. If God called me to it, it's going to happen. Because this is God's idea. What we do is not just a nice idea, but actually a race that God has prepared and set before us. A race that God has prepared and set before us. And the key, as I've said, is not to give up. Keep running. Keep moving. And get rid of the weight. Get rid of the weight. So how do we run this race? How do we keep going? How do we do it? Well, I think the answer's in these verses, and I'll share it with us. It says this. It says in these verses, lay aside every weight and sin that so easily entangles us. See, there's a difference between weight and sin. There's a difference between it. I'm going to sit forward. I'm too comfortable. I want to get uncomfortable. You see, there's a difference between weight and sin. We're not proving anything by carrying extra weight. I love how the writer of Hebrews here uses a race metaphor, because if you turn up to a race with extra weight, then it's probably not going to go so well, or as well as it could do. But many times we can actually, go, oh, I didn't do so well because, I'm carrying a bit extra weight or those kind of things. That's my excuse at the moment. I've just got to lay down and keep my foot up and carrying a bit of extra weight. You can laugh at me. It's all right. But often we come to God like this. We come to God carrying extra weight. I'm not talking about physical weight, but we hope he's impressed by our extra burden that we're carrying these things. But actually, it's the weight that we need to throw off. That actually we come with no excuses. See, the question today is, are we attached to our hindrances? Do we like being half committed? But actually, these moments, we should stop carrying things that we shouldn't be carrying. But we have to throw this weight off. I see these things. These things can be things like attitudes and thoughts and cynicism and apathy and all of these weights that we can end up carrying. We can end up carrying, but the writer of Hebrews and God is encouraging us, no, throw it off because there's more in you. There's more for you. As you throw this off, you'll be able to run quicker. You'll be able to run faster. You'll be able to run further than ever before. Let me tell you, I ran, like trying to find my way back to the villa, I ran quicker, faster, and longer than I've ever ran before. Like, I got back and look at this. Look at my time. Look at my mile time. It's because I didn't know my way. I had to find my way. But in that moment, I weren't worried about I just wanted to get my way. Maybe running for God, actually, we've got to throw off some weight. Got to throw off some things that are stopping us run as we should. Then it goes on and says, sin that so easily entangles. Someone turns up for a race and they're overweight. You can kind of see it. But sin, when we line up for a race with no external weight showing, but actually no one can really know our internal fitness. You see, someone could look, we do this at football. Like you eye up the opposition. You eye up the opposition and you go, hey, they look like they could be a footballer. But we don't know their internal fitness. We don't know what's going off. And many times sin is like this, that it entangles us, entangles our inside and makes us feel unfit. That I can't do it, unfit. But we'll find if we allow that sin to entangle our lives that our gifts are crippled and the full potential of our lives can't be released. If our internal fitness is no good, then the full potential of our muscles and fitness is not met. See, it's the same for our lives. If we allow the sin to so easily entangle us, the full potential for our lives, the full potential for what God has got for us will entangle us. And all of a sudden, we won't be able to run and we won't be able to move into all that God's got for us. And so the encouragement here is throw it off. Get rid of it. Throw it off. So many people look the part, but on the inside, there's sin, entanglements. But Jesus is saying, no, throw it aside. I went to the cross so you can throw it aside. So you don't have to live in that anymore. You can go. Don't allow your potential to be strangled, entangled by these things. You see, life can throw things at us. Life can throw things at us and we can feel, like we're injured. Like this. Like we're injured. And we can't move or we can't do things. And many times we can feel like that in our spiritual world. We can be offended or wounded or something is causing us to not run at our full potential. To not run at our full potential. But even when we're injured, I love this. Our coach, Jesus, and good coaches in life still see the full potential. Still see the full potential. See, the promise today is even if we feel like we're injured, even feel like we've got strains, even if we feel like there's moments like that, Jesus still sees your full potential. He still sees your full potential. And for us to run forward, for us to get rid of that stuff, we have to forgive. We have to forgive. We have to be a people who forgive. Like I'm going to like forgiveness to how I've had to be. I've had to be in a cast and then a boot with a heel. And I've got to start taking wedges away in the heel so I eventually get flat. And then when I can walk properly, then I can come out of the boot. And then I'm in a shoe. And then I've got to do all these exercises and all of this. And oh man, can't I just run yet? I've got to do all of that. And sometimes forgiveness can be like that, can't it? It can feel, because it's not just I forgive once, it's I forgive daily. I forgive daily, and I can do it. And it's like stretching out a muscle, or you put in a cast around it. It's going to feel awkward initially. It's going to take time to rebuild that weak point, but eventually that will be stronger as you keep forgiving. And so these things can hinder our ability to run the race, can do that. And likewise, for many people, they've allowed those things to hinder and run their race, and they're just stood on the sidelines. But today I want to shoot some adrenaline into your souls and say, hey, let's not be on the sidelines, but let's run our race. Let's run our race. Let's not give up. Let's throw off the things. Let's throw them things off, because actually God has got more for us. Later in those verses, Hebrews 12, verses 12 to 13, and it says this: therefore lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees. See, God is calling us to forgive. God is calling us to let go. God is calling us to put strength back in our souls for the race, that actually we can do this, that as we begin to take these things on board, we can do this. Just look at the pioneers. We can be pioneers. We can push forward. We can see God move in every area of our lives, and we can reach our full potential. So the question as the band come back is, who are you pioneering for? See, I love this, because I love this thought of pioneers, because I believe for each and every one of us, we're called to be pioneers. As a church, we're called to pioneer. We're called to do this. But the question is, who are we going to make a way for? Like I said earlier, I'm so thankful for many people who made a way, who trampled down what seemed like long grass, who trampled down moments that I thought, I don't know if I can get through this, but hold on, they got through it. They got through that, who made a way. I'm ultimately thankful for Jesus, who made a way so that I could know life and life to the full, so that I could know forgiveness, so I could know grace, so that I could know that these things that might weigh me down, this sin that so easily entangles, I can throw it off and I can live to my full potential. I'm so thankful, but I believe the writer of Hebrews is saying, hey, it's our turn. It's our turn to pioneer. I believe as Icon Church, it's our turn to pioneer. It's our turn to do it. We came into this building to pioneer, to make a way for many, many people to come to know Jesus. We weren't comfortable with just staying in this place. We decided to go to Derby and Sheffield and now this center in Sutton, believing that we're going to make a way for many, many people in all of those areas to come to know Jesus. But it requires a people who are not just going to sit on the sidelines, but we're going to run our race. We're going to push forward, and we're going to be the pioneers who make a way. We're going to trample down some paths so we can make a way. I have a little rule when I speak: one claps, all claps, but no silly claps. See, the incredible thing is that we get to pioneer. It's amazing. So who are you pioneering for? Because why do we need to pioneer? Because there's souls that need to be helped. There's souls that need to be found. There's a broken and lost generation that need to be found. And I believe it's our time. We'd better get to it. We'd better get to it. It's our moment. It's our doing it. And guess what? I really believe Jesus is challenging us to get out of our comfort zone, to make a way for someone else, to make a way for someone else, because that's why God has called us here. It's why He's called each and every one of us here. He's not called us here to just be a nice club, to turn up. And no, He's called us to make a way. He's called us to pioneer. He's called us to move forward. He's called you to do it in your business. He's called you to do it in your family. He's called to do it in your personal life, but He's called us together, Icon Church, together to make a way, to pioneer, to see lives transformed, to see souls healed, to see people's lives turned around. We're going to celebrate that tonight with baptisms. It happens because people made a way, and we can make a way, and He can call the best out of us because He's been there before. He went ahead of us. He put on human flesh. He knows the pain. He made a way for each and every one of us. I am the way, the truth, and the life. This is a moment for us to ask, who am I pioneering for? So as I was thinking of this message, I was thinking specifically about a friend I play football with, and I have to do this online. Pinkston Football Club, best football club in the world. And just in case any of them decide to watch, I tell them every week that I'm preaching, you can watch online, kind of thing. And a good friend of mine who I play football with, he started his own business. He's feeling the weight of it. And like 40 minutes, we're having a phone conversation on Thursday. He's just like telling me all the problems, and I'm like trying to give him advice, those kind of things, and just helping him. And at the end of the conversation, he goes, you're quite good at this, aren't you, Benger? That's what he calls me. They can't say Benger. And I came off the conversation, I was like, I want to make a way for him to know Jesus. I want to make a way for all of them to know Jesus. That means I'm going to have to get uncomfortable. That means I'm going to have to step out. It means I'm going to have to trample down some ground. It means I'm going to have to make a way so there's a path to Jesus, because ultimately when they see Jesus, they'll experience the presence of God. But it comes with the question of, who am I pioneering for? Because I'm so thankful that we get to read a list of heroes of faith that we heard about, and we were challenged to be those people of faith last week. But I really believe God's saying to us, so get to it. You've heard enough about it. It's time to get to it. It's time to throw off these things. It's time to throw off the weight. It's time to get rid of the sin that so easily entangles. It's time to fix our eyes on Jesus who did it all. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross. For the joy that was us, was those people. For the joy set before him, he was willing to make a way. And it's the same for us. Who are we pioneering for? I speak with passion always, because I want us to be passionate about making a way for others. Making a way for others. So who are you going to pioneer for? Who are we going to pioneer for? Icon Church, who are we going to pioneer for? Because we're called to be pioneers. We're called to be pioneers. And the ultimate pioneer was Jesus, who made a way for each and every one of us. So if you're able, why don't you stand to your feet? I have to say that because without my crutches, I'm not able. And I've got a mic in hand. But I'm going to pray. And this might be a moment where that adrenaline gets shot into your soul. Adrenaline. Maybe it's a moment where you've not fixed your eyes on Jesus for a while. But this is a moment where, okay, I'm not going to come and I'm not going to come with excuses, but I'm going to come and just fix my eyes on Jesus. Enter into the presence of God in this moment. Maybe it's a moment where you're going to go, okay, I'm going to throw off the weight. I'm going to throw off the sin that's been easily entangling me, because I want to run the race at my full potential. I want to run the race at God's potential, because there's more in me than I know. There's more in me. The same power that raised Christ Jesus from the grave, it lives in me. It lives in you. And this is a moment where we can access that. Maybe it's a moment where we lift our eyes and we go, okay, this is who I'm pioneering for. Who I'm pioneering for. So come on, all across this place, let's pray. Jesus, we thank you. We thank you that you made a way. We thank you that you were the ultimate pioneer. And we come to you and we thank you for these heroes, these pioneers of faith. But right now we declare we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. We pray for your help. We pray as we fix our eyes on you, we'll enter into the presence of God. As we learn how you did it with love, that we will pioneer a way with love. I pray right now for any person who's feeling weight, who has sin that's easily entangling. I pray in this moment, as we throw it off, I pray that we're able to run with our full potential into all that you've got for us. We thank you for your power, and we see those people who were called to pioneer for God. And our declaration today is we will not give up, just as the writer of Hebrews encourages us to. We will not give up, but we will push into all that you've got for us. So we fix our eyes on you, the author and perfecter of our faith. We lift our eyes to you. We give you all honor, all glory, and all praise in Jesus' name. And all the church said, amen, amen. Come on, let's worship him. Let's fix our eyes on him. Let's lift him up in this moment. Come on.